Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you just don't know what to do? I know for me, I frequently find myself in the situation of not knowing what to do or what step to take or which decision to make. And most likely you can relate. Maybe right now you are having to make a decision at work that is difficult to work on. You just don't know what to do. Or maybe you have a family situation and you're relationally trying to discern between some different choices. Or maybe you just are finding yourself just overwhelmed with stress or worry or anxiety, and you feel stuck and you're not sure which way to go. I think that is something that resonates with a lot of us. And what I want to do for just a quick minute is I want to look at God's word and I want to answer this question: what do you do when you don't know what to do? And in 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 12, the Bible speaks into this familiar problem that we find ourselves in. Just a quick context of 2 Chronicles, this is going through the kings of Judah. We're going to look at King Jehoshaphat, and he is finding himself in a situation where there is an army that is coming against Jerusalem and the people of God. And so he is, at the beginning of chapter 20, he is in fear. He is in anxiety because there's an army coming against them. And so he turns to the Lord, seeks his face, and prays. And we're going to look at one verse at the end of his prayer that I believe is really going to help minister to your heart. So 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 12 says this: "Our God, we are powerless against this great army that is coming against us. We do not know what to do, but our eyes are on you." And so Jehoshaphat prays, and at the end of his prayer, he says, we are powerless against this army. We do not know what to do, but our eyes are on you. I know for me, sometimes I have different tendencies whenever I don't know what to do. Sometimes I find myself wanting to do it myself. I'm a doer. I want to fix it on my own. And so I can find myself trying to resolve the situation in my own strength. There's other times where I can, instead of doing it myself, I end up actually doing nothing. It's something I think a lot of us are familiar with, which is decision paralysis. We don't know what to do. I'm going to do nothing. And I know for me, in my mind, I'll just get real cloudy and have a hard time discerning which decision to make. If we're really honest, sometimes we are, instead of decision paralysis, we are decision impulsiveness, where we just make a decision and go for it. And if I'm honest, that usually ends up being doing the wrong thing and making the wrong decision. And instead, I think what God's word is submitting to us is that we need to depend on God. Not try to resolve the situation on our own, not sit back and do nothing and just hope it works itself out. Definitely not do the wrong impulsive decision without seeking God's guidance, but instead that we would depend on God. And the key to this dependence upon Jesus is here in Jehoshaphat's prayer. He says, we are powerless against this great army. You see, what Jehoshaphat is doing is he is admitting his inability and recognizing God's ability. And for you and for me today, when we don't know what to do, we need to depend on God, and we need to admit we do not know what to do. We need to admit our inability. And listen, that takes humility, because we have to be able to say, hey, I don't have the solution in myself. I don't have the strength to get through this. This is a spirit and a humility and a posture of dependence upon God that says, I don't got it. I'm powerless in this situation at work. I'm unable to resolve it on my own, but instead, I know the one who does. So it's not a weakness to say I don't know what to do. It's actually a strength, because we're saying I know the one who does know what to do. I know the God who is all powerful. We might be powerless, but God is powerful. It reminds me of Philippians 4:13, which is a verse that a lot of us are familiar with. And it says that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can't do all things. You can't do all things, but we can do all things through Christ, through the one who is strengthening us. And so as we walk through life, as we frequently find ourselves in situations of not knowing what to do, I want to encourage us. I want to encourage my own heart to depend on God, that we would fix our eyes up, look to Jesus for guidance, for wisdom and for counsel. And instead of doing nothing or just impulsively responding to the situation, that we would prayerfully bring our hearts before God, admit that we aren't able to do it on our own, and say, God, but you can. And in prayer and in humility and dependence upon Jesus, that we would take one step at a time as God guides us.